Cool. Well, we'll get started. This is going to be really important. So this is actually some of the most common questions that your clients are going to ask you. So they're always going to say like, how much should I be spending on ads to get performance? How much should a customer cost me to acquire? Um, so I'm just going to go through a lot of these right now and just give you these really easy calculations. This is actually like just something that's like not even that common of knowledge, but it should be. And that's why I'm glad all of you are here to join this. So the first one is like, a lot of your clients will say like, well, how much should I be spending on ads? So a very easy calculation that you can give them, let me move this over here, is that they should be spending about 12 to 20% of their gross revenue goal for the year on ads. So if they're in hyper growth, it's definitely 20 to even 25% of their gross revenue. An example is that if they want to make 100,000 for the year, and we take that 12% example, they should be at least spending about $12,000 over the course of the year to achieve their $100,000 gross revenue goal. This is just a super easy calculation that you can say just to give them some guidance. And this can change. It's always subject to change, but at least this is some guiding point, some North Star as far as how much they should be spending over the course of the year. And then you could just divide that by 12 months. So just to say it again, if they want to make $100,000 for the year, they should be spending 12% of that on ads, which is about $1,000 a month to achieve their goals.
That's too
So
much. Okay.
that's just like a very easy calculation that you can give them just to give them some North Star and just guide them throughout the course of the year. But one of the other main questions that they're also going to ask you is a lot of clients when they're first starting out, they don't know their ideal cost per customer. The customers, your clients who know their cost per customer are the ideal clients because they already have some data. They already know what is a good cost per lead, what is a good cost per customer. When you're just starting out with them, a lot of clients, whether you're working with, power washers or roofers, real estate agents, many clients don't know their average cost per customer. So one stat that we always use is that it should be about 30% advertising cost of sales is the ideal cost per customer. And what that means is that if they are selling a t-shirt for $100, they should be willing to at least spend $30 to acquire that customer. So you can just break that out and say, okay, your ideal cost per customer is going to be $30 because you're selling a t-shirt for $100. You can also do this by customer lifetime value if they know that. They might not. So it's good to do it like per sale. So again, if they're selling a t-shirt for $100, they should at least be willing to pay about 30% of that to acquire a customer. And that's still going to be a very high ROI and return on ad spend for them. But this is just
Logan, can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
So just taking a physio or physical therapist example, in the case I'm thinking about, they pay their practitioners 50%. So they're already, down to 50%. So that's the first question. Does this 30% doesn't apply to all industries? The second question is, with a physio, you might see the patient 10 times. So are you talking about 30% of those 10 visits or 30% of the first visit?
It should be, if they can, it should just be the lifetime. That would be ideal if they can do lifetime. So it could be 10% or 10 visits times that average order value. And then you would times that by that 30% advertising cost of sales, because that is their total revenue that they're getting. That is basically their total sale. If they're guaranteed to come at least 10 times, then that is their total sale for that customer. And this can spread across all industries as well. So
the only reason I'm saying that, sorry to interrupt again, is that you've got a direct cost of 50%, and then you've got overheads. There's very little margin left once you take out 30% for advertising.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. It just depends on their COGS as well. Like how much, even for this, like for a t-shirt, they're selling it for $100. Let's say it costs them $20 to make the shirt. It's costing them $30 to acquire a customer. That's still $50. That is about 50% profit to them. This can vary. Like this is just a North Star that you can at least give them. It's tough because if they're giving 50% away already, this is like just a number that I always use to guide them. Like it's always better to overestimate, to, you know, underestimate and then over deliver. So you can always back it out and just say, you know, let's say it is 50%. This is just a number that I give them and say, this is potentially what it could cost. And now it's our work to kind of optimize it and get that down to 20% or 10%. But at least this is just some number that you can give them. You could potentially do it off profit that they're getting from that if they're giving 50% away already. That is a little bit tough to say, but at least this is some number that you can give them to guide them on their cost per customer. But this does span across pretty much every industry. Did that help you, Hamish?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'll obviously have to make it work for this client.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a unique use case, but that's also part of their, you know, cost of goods sold, essentially. So this is just a metric that you can easily pull out and just say, okay, how much do you charge per customer? Like that's what you should always be asking. How much do you make per customer? Whenever like a client says, how much, you know, what kind of results should I be expecting? How much should I be spending? My first question is always like, how much do you make per customer? It could be lifetime if they know that. And then you can kind of back out these calculations and give them a great recommendation and starting point. You could always lower this. You know, this is like typically a good starting point. And then you can say, at least this number is a little bit high now. That's what we'll expect through the testing. But then over time, it will get much lower. And this is actual cost per customer, not cost per lead. This is actual when someone actually pays them. What most of your clients should actually be starting with first is actually retargeting. This also plays into your overall cost per customer as well. But you can do all this work of finding new customers, but on average, this number is even getting higher now. It takes an average of 7 different interactions with your brand before someone buys. So if you're getting all of these new people into your funnel, but then there's nothing down there to close them, you're just going to have a very leaky bucket. So it's always good to start with retargeting first. That shows a lot of value to you as the agency because this cost per customer is actually going to be much cheaper and you're going to have a higher conversion rate from your retargeting campaigns. So this is something I always recommend starting first. And then you can always spend more of your time on, you know, new customer acquisition. But these campaigns should be very easy to set up. The retargeting campaigns that tend to work best are more image-based. We have some retargeting campaigns that have been up for, you know, a year or more at this point. And we just always have them running because you never know, like this could pick up people from your email campaigns, from your organic social posting on Instagram or TikTok. So this is just a way to fix your leaky bucket. And it's always good to start with these campaigns first for your retargeting. So this is like always a recommendation that I will start with. It just shows a lot of value in your agency as well. This metric you can pretty much apply to anything. Even when we were, you know, raising our first round, like I was self-funding Plai myself all before we raised. I talked to about 100 or more investors and only 2 or 3 actually did it. So this applies to your customers. This applies to your clients. You can always use this metric to kind of back out any sort of calculation that you need when you're talking and onboarding clients. 2 to 3% is the global average conversion rate for pretty much anything that you do. If you're trying to get people to attend an event or webinar, you reach out to 100 people, typically only 2 to 3% will convert. And it's always great because you can get up to that 5, 6, 10% conversion rate. But again, it's always better just to set expectations a little bit lower and then over deliver. So that's kind of what we use here. This is just a great fallback number that you can always use to back out anything. So it's like, how many website visitors do I actually need to my site before someone buys? If I want to get 2 customers, I'm going to need to at least get 100 people to my site to get them to buy. Same thing with leads. How many leads do you actually need to convert? Probably, you know, it could be a little bit more or a little bit less, but because and again, this is the actual customer conversion rate. Leads are a little bit different because they're already warm. And if you're emailing them you can acquire them through ads. If you're emailing them, it's essentially free. But again, this is just a good metric that you can always use for your clients. happy to answer any questions on this, but I think this kind of just gears you up for success for going and when you're first talking to your clients, they have a lot of questions. These are just some metrics that you can always kind of fall back on to estimate and give them numbers that they might need to sign with you as an agency. Happy to answer any questions on this or anything else regarding Play as well. I'm just going to go over and share my Play screen. Feel free to answer any questions on that. I just want to spend the rest of the time today. George, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, how you guys doing? One question or one issue I had before using a competitor to Play was when you run a Facebook ad campaign and you got 5, like images going out, 5 videos going out, 4 sets of copy, you run the chance of getting that ad rejected and then all 4 of them at the same time, which is bad. So is there a way to just like do one and then add to it? Like run one video and then if it gets approved, just add a couple more and it still goes into the results in Play for our clients to see?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could just clear out. So if we go in here, you can just run it. So it's basically one video. You can clear out, you can X out of these primary texts, just have one. Typically the primary text won't have issues, but you can just run it. So it's one headline.
No, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind running like 4 headlines and 4 different ad copies. It's usually the image or the video that gets it rejected, especially like weight loss or peptides or sensitive subjects.
Yeah.
And I want to like mitigate like getting, that, okay, you just got 4 of them rejected versus just one, right? One we could deal with, 4 at the same time. It's usually not a good starting point.
Yeah, you can easily just run it with one image or video.
Okay. And then if I go back into the exact same campaign, I could add more videos. Like, how would I do that once it's already running?
Yes, you can just tap here. Let's go. We're adding that feature to edit the creative part of the lead ad. Let me just go into, I can go into this one, for example. But that's what's cool about Play is that you can also edit your ads inside of Play. It's actually a lot of dev work to be able to not only create the ad, but then actually being able to edit it is a lot of work on our side. That's why we're like really happy to offer this to you. But you would just tap this pencil icon right here.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Content part, and you can just edit it right here.
Okay.
We do block out, I think Hamish asked this yesterday. And
That's
one
right, yeah.
thing that we do is that we actually block, so you kind of just click edit next to one of these parts right here, and you can edit only that part. You can still come back and edit other parts, but this is just like a way to still create a very pure A/B test. You can edit the targeting or your creative, and then you can see the impact. Because if you edit everything at once, there's no way to know exactly what improved your ad or made your ad performance drop a little bit. So you can edit one part, tap update, and that's the change. You can always come back in and edit it, but that's, definitely a best practice is just to be able to edit one part of the ad, see the change, and go from there. Because if you edit it all at once, there's no way to know exactly what's making that improvement or lack of performance.
And then if I edit this in the Facebook's manager, does that carry back over to Play?
It does. Yes, it does.
Okay. So any change I made in the Facebook manager carries back. That's good. And then how about UTM parameters? Or is there a way, are you guys doing that, or am I missing something on your guys' side?
We're adding that in here.
Okay.
So you can add your UTM parameters or values right within the ad.
Okay.
What you can also do is just build, there's like a UTM builder Google offers. So you can just build that UTM link and just add that link to your as your landing page URL.
Got it.
So I think it's just called UTM builder. If you just Google that, it's the first option. And you can just use that UTM link that it generates as your destination URL. So you don't really need to do anything down here. Actually, on the blog article that we have, let me share this. We actually have a blog article on it. So this is actually a cool template that you can use. So this is a UTM template builder, and you could download this spreadsheet that we created for you, because when you use UTMs, they all have to be consistent, because even like sometimes the capitalization of how you're tracking something could impact and count it as separately, depending on like what you're using to track it. So this UTM builder helps you keep everything consistent. So you can track something as, this goes across channels, but definitely check this out. This is on our blog. This is a lead form. This is a UTM builder template. And we created this for all of you. So you can just tap this link right here.
Can you put that URL in the chat for us old guys that
Yeah.
don't want to search forever?
Of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're honestly just going to bring this into play, at least for admins, because it's extremely useful, especially if you use something like Google Analytics or whatever tracking. But having like an actual template that you can do at scale, because you might have different links, like you might have many different campaigns running, like PR, blogs, social, Instagram links. So this kind of keeps everything consistent for your tracking. So it all falls into like all your traffic from one UTM source or medium falls into the same bucket. So this is actually a really good source.
Yeah, I really like sharing it with the client and showing them, when they go to activity and high level, like, look, this is exactly the ads that are working. They're always amazed that they have that much insight into it.
Yeah. I think honestly, thanks for the question, George. I think honestly, we might just add this in to play somehow. But the link's in the chat now. So
yeah, thank you. I got it.
Okay. What other questions does everyone have? I can go over some new features as well that we're launching, but happy to answer any questions I want to use this time, for you guys.
Hey, Logan, Scott Rabinowitz here. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Scott? How are you?
Good. I had a, if you could go back and do another deeper dive into the retargeting aspect. I know we've spoken about that, and I put a message in the Facebook group today about this company that I spoke with yesterday called Deep Sync. They just acquired a company that I buy my list from called AccuData. And I was talking to them about wanting to buy a B2B list, and it completely integrates with Facebook. So I can go in and basically handpick the demographics that I want instead of trying to, worry about basically everything that you spoke about. But I still am having a hard time understanding how to get this up and running without that company, of just being able to get the specific target that I want to just show my ads to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you can just easily just upload the list right here. If they give you a CSV, you can just have this option right here. This is how you can just upload the list and just retarget to them. I think someone else posted in the group today about, I've even experienced this too. Like when you think you're buying a list of, truck drivers or realtors, and you just retarget to them, the ad performance is not good, because, sometimes these lists, you just have to put a lot of trust into these companies you're buying lists from, to be honest. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. What I like doing instead is just building a lookalike audience off that list and reaching new people. So you can just upload the list right here and come over here to new people, select lookalike, and you can just tap create, select the source as that CSV file you uploaded, and create a lookalike audience. I have rarely had good success with purchasing lists and retargeting to them. I guess it can work. I haven't seen good success from purchasing lists. You just have to really trust the people you're buying the list from.
So not even from the creating a lookalike audience from a list. Does that fall into the same realm of the list, just uploading the list as its own entity? Or are you saying also, hey, if I buy a B2B list of restaurants, okay, and then I go ahead and upload that in a CSV file and then create a lookalike audience based on the audience that I uploaded, you're saying that's a loser possibly also from your experience?
I mean, if it worked, there would be no such thing as targeting interests. There would be no other targeting option needed than just uploading lists. In theory, that is a great way to do it because you're just retargeting people you know who are in your ideal audience. Some people might have had success with it. I haven't, and many other people I've talked to haven't. So what I have done that has worked better than just retargeting that list is creating a lookalike audience off that list, which is essentially reaching new people. But
Okay,
again,
so I'm sorry, Logan. So let me make sure that I understand. I buy a list of restaurants. Does it have to be a certain amount, 500, 1,000? Is there any sort of parameters?
I believe the limit is 200 people on that CSV file.
Okay, so I buy the list of 200 restaurants across the country. I upload, or I guess it doesn't really matter. I upload that list to Play. Correct? Create the
right
audit.
here.
Okay, I upload it there, and then I click that button there, and then I create a lookalike audience from that.
I would.
That's okay, you're saying?
Yeah, I would. It's even against Facebook. Like if there's no way that they can tell if you bought the
Mhm.
list, there's no there's no way, but it is against their policy to use purchase lists. But there's no way for them to tell if you actually did it. So
Okay, but you're saying that method is a much more effective method than targeting the interest. Buying a
yeah,
list, creating a lookalike from the target that I want, and then running the campaign.
yeah,
I just want to make sure that I understand the sequence.
yeah. You can try it. I would try still doing the retargeting list at like $5 or $10 a day. Just don't put like $100 a day.
Oh, I don't have that, so sure. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're willing to, try it out for $50 over the course of, 10 days, try it. But yeah.
And do I need any from that list? Is there certain, do I just get the address? Do I need the email? Like what do I need in that list? What are the
There's a sample, you could download the sample here. You can see formatting guidelines, but I've even uploaded where it's just the email, first name, last name. You can give it, you could have, I think, 12 or more fields in there, but you can tap these two buttons right here and you'll see like a sample formatting guidelines. But if you're buying it from a company, they typically have it formatted.
so it could just be their name and address, and that's acceptable?
At least email. Yeah.
It has to have an email. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Has to have an email. Okay, good.
And then, there's, because what this is, it's basically customer matching. So sometimes it's not going to be able to match. So ideally the list is at least, if you're buying a list, that's typically going to be over, 1,000. Ideally it's in the 10,000 range because not every 10,000 of those will be able to be matched by Facebook to a Facebook profile.
Okay, so what did you say about the 200? Maybe I'm confused. Did you say I
needed
needed
minimum? That's just the minimum you need.
Okay.
For
What's the recommendation?
If you layer on, because if you do also location like, are you just going to target the United States?
Let's say I'm going to target the East Coast.
Yeah, so it's like, but you're buying the list. Yeah, that's a good question. You're going to want to at least to have, at least 10,000 people in your audience because you could reach them, all 10,000 of them with $5 a day. With $5 a day in 10 days, like you could reach every single person in that list. So you'd probably want at least 10,000 people in your list.
Upload a list of 10,000, and this would be a B2B list, 10,000 restaurants, and then create a lookalike. And then if I create a lookalike, how do I know how many? It's just going to pull the lookalike from the geography.
It's gonna turn that into 100,000, 50,000 plus. with the lookalike, because it's new people that it's targeting.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hey,
Thank
really
you.
quick, would it make sense to run a email campaign to that list and then retarget the people that are actually interested? Like open the email. So,
Because it's
because I'm
free. Yeah.
about to do that
Yeah.
with the 70,000,
Yeah,
you know,
I think that
person.
might be a better, that's a great option because it's essentially free. So like if you can, try emailing them and seeing who actually clicks to a landing page, and you could just retarget those people. That's actually a great point. Like if you're already buying the list, you might as well just try emailing them first.
Gotcha.
Logan, can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think this is a really interesting discussion. And I think one of the things that's going to make this a killer app is if you can build those recommendations into the customer flow.
Yeah.
So what I mean is that when, if somebody, so first of all, I mean, like a really basic thing would be, should I be retargeting? Should I be, targeting new people? And, maybe, ask a couple of questions as we recommend you start with retargeting. And then you understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but if the more you make it idiot proof, the more we can just leave this to our clients just to do it themselves. And I
Exactly.
know that's
Yep.
it sounds easy to say that, but and it's going to take ages. But I mean, you could, if you take baby steps now, I think that's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's actually something that we do have coming, not like only in the playbooks. We do have playbooks coming, so it'll be somewhere in here, but they're actually guides that you can follow on your first campaigns. But I'll say this, like what we do have coming, you've probably seen the advancements in OpenAI and ChatGPT. We have some extremely exciting things coming. So it's not even like just choose, it's not even going to be retargeting. It's like, here is my strategy. My revenue was down 25% last month. What are some campaigns? What are some ads? Or what should I even be my strategy to launch these? And we would actually recommend everything for you based on your data, based on our knowledge, based on everything that we know and what you can do and play. So that is essentially what's coming is, yes, you can come in here, launch Facebook, lead ads, get leads, get phone calls, get messages, do all this stuff. But like, when do you do retargeting? When should you check out TikTok? So that is something we're extremely excited about, is to like, just take your strategy and help you launch ads. Just very similar to a ChatGPT flow prompt. And you'd just be able to launch your ads, right? Just based on your strategy, even not just from a prompt, but actually let us know your strategy and we will launch the ads. That is where Plai is headed. And I think it's going to be great for all your clients. So
That sounds amazing. And if I could just add to that, that you close the feedback loop when things don't work, that the help is deeper. So it says, okay, this is what's gone wrong. This is what you need. You either need to start again, or you need to do this or that or whatever.
Exactly. Yep. Same thing. Just looking at your metrics, saying, okay, this, even though it might be performing well, these are some recommendations to take it to the next level. We're always free to hop on with any of you and help you out, but we're just putting everything that we know into this, and it'll be available to your clients based on all of our data already from thousands and thousands of ad campaigns that have already been launched inside of Plai. So it'll be very exciting. We'll be pretty much the first to do that as well, and you'll have that all for your clients too. So that's where this is headed.
Okay, so I got a question. Okay, so aside from Facebook and Instagram, which platforms let you upload and retarget your own list, or at least do lookalike audiences?
You can do it. Google just limited they used to have something called similar audiences. I think they don't have that anymore, but you can also do it on Google. We are building out our entire retargeting structure. So like there's more features. Like if you come into Facebook, you can do multiple things in here. So to answer your question, Google allows that. We don't have that yet in Plai, but you can upload your list into Google. I believe TikTok has that. Pretty much all these platforms actually offer that. I think even LinkedIn, you can also do that.
Cool.
In the platform. And that's like what we're actually working on. So we can get to that next strategy part is actually like creating those features inside of Play. And because you can even build audiences off people who have viewed your YouTube channel. It's just, we need to offer that in Play, which we will have.
Right.
Is every single retargeting part in here. And that's just going to make that strategy feature that much more powerful, because once all these features are in here, then you will be able to we'll see your strategy, and we can actually recommend you to first launch a YouTube ad, for example. Like, let's say you're a musician, you want to launch YouTube ad showing before, let's say like Drake or someone like that. Then take that, build an audience off that, and retarget to them on Google Display, stuff like that. Like, that'll just be automatically done from within inside of Play. And that's kind of like, that's been our vision for a long time. And I think we're finally getting to a point where we can do that. But to answer your question, you can pretty much upload your list on all, I believe TikTok as well allows you to upload your list.
Nice.
So display is one of the best platforms to retarget.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Display, for sure, because you can just reach customers wherever they are. It's one of the cheaper channels, so display is definitely one of the better retargeting channels. More people spend time browsing the internet than they do, like, people only spend about 6 minutes a day on LinkedIn. They spend about more on TikTok and YouTube, but they spend most of their time still just browsing the internet. We'll see what happens, with ChatGPT and Google's revenue and stuff, but I'm sure ChatGPT will have some form of that as well, as more things shift to a chat interface.
Okay.
Yeah, Logan just had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had struggling a little bit with the Excel CSV file. What's the easiest way to upload that file into the system?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. So definitely, if I tap this formatting guidelines.
Yeah, I did that, right.
And then there's also this sample, download sample. So let me see if this will pop up.
Yeah, I followed that process, but it didn't take it. So I was just curious if there's an easier way.
If you want to, like, just send over your first 5 contacts, or just the structure that you want to send it over to me, and I can kind of, walk you through it and help you out. Just send over 10 field examples, and I'll kind of help you format it, and then you can just copy and paste.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Just 2 more things real quick. If you check out this new Google All Channels campaign flow right here, this is actually a much simpler flow than every single other campaign. This is like the new flow that we're moving to. Like, you'll see this massive panel pop out. So instead of clicking next on those little pop-ups, this is like the new UI flow. It's not changing anything too much for your customers, but this is sort of just a much simpler UI flow, where if you tap targeting, this massive pop-up flows up right here. So you don't have to get into those little pop-ups where it says next. This new flow is coming to all channels. But if you want to kind of get familiar with it, this is exactly what it will look like. If you tap creative right here, it's just going to be a much bigger panel, much easier to see for your clients. So this new flow is coming, I think, next week to Facebook, Google, and TikTok. This is just our sample one. This will also allow us to save drafts of your campaigns. So you could save a draft now. This will also allow you to duplicate your ad and just many things. So this is just a much simpler flow, and just looks a lot better for your clients too. Not too much, everything else is the same. It's just kind of just making everything much bigger and just easier to kind of walk through when you're creating your ads. So this will be here next week, but it just looks a lot better for you. And we're always, we're design freaks over here. We just, so we're always trying to see how we can make everything bigger and easier and faster for creating your ads. So